What's going on, everybody? It's SVT Vasquez back at it with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the mathematics portion in the HESI exam. Let's start the show. Welcome back to my channel, guys. Sorry if I'm a little dirty. I just got done doing some landscaping outside on my house. So my goal is to help you guys score high in the mathematics portion, which is one of the portions that a lot of people struggle with, and I'm here to try to make it as easy as possible and share with you guys the information that I got from my experience taking the mathematics portion, which I scored a 96%. And hopefully after my video, you guys could score 100% in your mathematics portion. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the conversions on length, I'm gonna start with the English conversions. As you could see, I put little stars on two of these problems right here, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but let's first start off by learning that 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards. 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet, and 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Now, the reason that this is important is because if you just remember these two with the stars, if you just remember this number for a mile in yards and this number, you could find this number out because you could convert it from this number. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So if you times 3 times 1,760, you'll get this answer right here. So you don't really need to memorize this one, but you do need to memorize these two with the stars. Now, if you want to be an overachiever and be quicker in your HESI exam so you don't have to do extra conversions, you can remember this number right here, the 5,280 feet, but it's not a requirement because you could convert it yourself by timesing 3 times 1,760 yards. Now, going further down, we see that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Now, of course, this is easy to remember, 12 inches. Everybody should know that, but they might ask you a question like, how many inches in a mile? And then you could just times 12 by this number right here, and then you'll get how many inches in a mile. As far as 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers, you just have to remember that number. It's an easy number. Just remember 1.6 and you'll know the answer to that. And then 1 foot equals 30.48 centimeters. Again, that's a number you just have to remember. They might ask you like how many centimeters in 3 feet. So then you could just times this number by 3 and then you get your answer in centimeters. So just go ahead and remember these two numbers, and that's going to do it for length. It's nice and simple, straight to the point. As far as weight in English, you just have to remember that 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. They might ask you a question like, how many pounds in 1.5 tons? So if 1 ton is equal 2,000, then half a ton is going to equal 1,000. And then as far as pounds, 1 pound is equal 16 ounces. Again, another easy number to remember. You're just going to have to remember that. 2.2 pounds equals 1 kilogram. Again, another easy number to remember. For me, they asked, for example, 6.6 pounds, how many kilograms are there in 6.6 pounds? So you just divide this by that number, and then I got 3 kilograms. So go ahead and learn this conversion, and then you'll be able to answer their questions. And then another one to remember in weight is 1 gallon is equal to 128 ounces, and this is going to lead me to my next section, which is gallon man. So let's go ahead, hop over to gallon man, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this before. So gallon man is pretty much drawing a big G and drawing 4 Q's, putting 2 P's in each Q, and then 2 C's in each P. So what this stands for is the G is a gallon, the Q is a quart, so 4 quarts in a gallon, the P is a pint, so 8 pints in a gallon, and then etc. for cups. Now, the thing I want you guys to remember that in this, it's very important. You see how the C's are stacked up in top of each other? That almost makes an 8 if you put it close enough, like this one right here. So just remember that 2 C's almost makes an 8, right? And that's important because 1C actually equals 8 ounces. So an easy way to remember that a cup equals 8 ounces is they look like an 8 already stacked up on top of each other. So if you think about it, 1 pint has 16 ounces, etc. 1 quart has 32 ounces. So that's going to lead me to my next section. So here I have it written down. I suggest that you guys write it down on your exam too, because there might be multiple conversions that you're going to need this for. So instead of redoing it for each question and losing time on the exam, if you write it down on your notes, it's going to look like this. So write down 1 cup equals 8 ounces, 1 pint equals 16 ounces, 1 quart equals 32 ounces, and 1 gallon equals 128 ounces, as we saw over here on weight as well. So you're going to have questions like how many ounces in 3 gallons, 2 pints, and 6 cups. And then because you have this formula already here, you could answer that question a lot quicker, and you don't have to spend time trying to figure out, oh man, how many ounces in a quart, how many ounces in a pint. It's already written down. So when you get your first question, make sure that you write it down in your notes. 1 cup equals 8 ounces, 1 pint equals 16 ounces. And the way you're going to memorize this is just by writing down and remembering gallon man. As you guys remember, I said the C's look like an 8, so 1 cup is 8 ounces. So there are 2 cups in a pint, there are 4 cups in a quart, etc. So you guys will be able to break it down. I believe in you guys. And that's going to lead me to my last conversion section, which is volume. So for volume, you're going to have to just memorize pretty much these two, and I'll show you why in a second. So 1 ounce equals 30 milliliters, and 1 ounce equals 28 grams. Now the reason that you only have to memorize these two is because, remember, you have this up here. So if you remember that 1 gallon equals 128 ounces, you could times 30 milliliters times 128, and that gives you this number right here. So if you can't draw your gallon man, it helps out to just write it down this way so that you have it handy. But as you could see, if you just remember these two right here, 1 ounce equals 30 milliliters. Let's times 30 times 128. And you could see we get this number right here. So 1 gallon equals 3,840 milliliters, which you don't have to remember off the top of your head because you're already memorizing so many numbers. Make it easy on yourself and memorize these two, and then you could convert using this chart up here that I wrote down for you guys. And as far as the metric part, that part involves learning King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. That's a very, very easy way to memorize metric conversions, and I'm not going to go over that because there are a lot of great videos out there to find out how to do those conversions. But at the end of the day, guys, the best way to remember is by doing it over and over and over. As you guys could see here, these are problems that I was working on myself. I just looked up dividing, adding, turning fractions to decimals, decimals to fractions, and I just wrote it down and did it over and over. And like I told people before, it's not about remembering the problem and knowing how to solve that specific problem, but it's about the formula. How do you convert it? How do you divide it? How do you subtract it? How do you add it? If you remember the formula, you're going to be able to solve any problem, and you guys too can score high on your HESI exam. As far as taking the exam, I took mine online, so I didn't get scratches of paper to write down or draw gallon man. I had to use a similar note-taking strategy as you see here on this Word document. So they give you a page where you could write and take notes on the exam, but I wasn't able to physically draw with a pencil and paper. So keep that in mind. I believe if you take it in person, some schools do allow you to have pen and paper because they could physically examine it and see what's on it. Personally, for me, on my online experience, I was giving a notepad like this that it's electronic, that I get to write notes on. So remembering these conversions right here and typing them up and leaving it there for future questions really helped me out on my exam. Maybe you, if you take it in person, you're going to be able to write it down, and it's a lot more simpler to draw Gallon Man and do it that way. But for me, it was a different experience, and I do have a video on how to prepare yourself to take that proctored exam online if you are taking the exam that way. And I also have a video on how to best study for the HESI exam, on what material you should use, if you should use Quizlet, if you should use a website, if you should use a book. I have a video breaking that down as well. So go ahead and watch those videos if they pertain to you. And that's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything else that you would like me to break down. I try to make things as easy as possible for you guys. With that being said, best of luck to you guys on your HESI exam, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.